All right, folks, welcome. It's Thursday night, Hunting the Rut Hotline. My name's Don Bell.
Hey, Steve Burklow.
Folks, it's Thursday night, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. It's time to get on the phone, call people, let them know about the show. We're live each Thursday night, and tonight we'll follow the sequence of the recovery. Spring is a recovery time for white-tailed deer. And folks, as we go through this show, and people calling in, think about this, we're going to chronologically tell the story, Steve. Yep. We're going to talk about from the birth process all the way through, all the way up to the time we hunt these deer in the fall. And time we get to this fall, you're going to have a better understanding why that deer is where they are and why he or she's doing what they're doing at the time that they're doing it, because you've been listening and watching all spring long. Mm-hmm. Pretty neat. And we're going to be talking about springtime is the recovery period. And folks, we'll be back in just one moment.
From Don Bell, the founder of Code Blue, comes Top Secret Reserve Doe Estrus, the finest doe estrus ever collected. Top Secret oxygen-free collection process is a complete generation above Code Blue. Our patent-pending collection process means no ammonia and no ammonia smell. At a limited quantity of 12,000 bottles, only 1/10% of hunters will be lucky enough to add Top Secret to their. Visit TopSecretDeerScent.com today and join the 1/10% club.
All right, folks, so I just want to remind everyone, hey guys, listen, each week if you have questions, all you need to do is to post them. You can go to Facebook and post them to us, or you can call in live, you can Skype in, and you also can email us each Thursday night. Or, of course, you can hit Facebook 7 days a week, 24/7. And we do appreciate you doing it, because you're doing it, and we do try to catch up with them, don't we, Steve?
Yeah, try.
We don't always do it, but we do try our best, and we do appreciate you guys doing that. Tonight, what we want to do is kind of each week do a little quick review and start again. And each week we'll do a quick little review and take on new ground to be able to see where we are. So what we want to do tonight is talk about springtime and get everyone to kind of understand that springtime is the recovery of a white-tailed deer. They've been through a lot. I mean, the past 4 months, these old boys from north to south have been shot at. And, winter kill, starvation.
It was like 4 months down here been shot at.
Yeah, predator. I mean, and we talked about last week, Dad, I did it again. Who is the number one predator for deer?
Man.
We are. Hunters.
Yeah.
And so we put all that in perspective tonight. First of all, what we want to talk about tonight is that deer, as they have been bred, and they breed in November to February, depends on where you are, November in the Midwest, Northeast, all the way back down to February down here in Florida, some parts of Alabama. Give an example of this. We talked about last week before, we talked about sheds. Saturday in Furman, a guy was unloading a truck. And he said, about 4:30 in the afternoon, he said, Don, he said, look, go in there. Across from the house there, the lake, there was a nice rack buck come walking out from the lake, went across the blacktop and crossed and went up on Prince's property next to me.
Wow.
Full set of
both sides, huh?
That's crazy. And that's what we're talking about. There are exceptions to what we're saying, but as a general rule, this is the norm.
Right.
There's exceptions always, and there's an exception to that. But first of all, the life cycle of a white-tailed deer. Guys, listen, everybody knows they breed from November to February, depends on what part of the country you are, and fawns are normally born about 6 months later. Now, there's kind of a gap there, Steve, between, some people say, it's roughly 190 days to all the way up to 210 days. But roughly, 5.5, 6 months later, they're going to have fawns. And fawns, if it's a first-year doe, first year she's bred, typically she'll have one fawn. Second year, and all this is dependent on, their diet and their health. But if they're in good health and got good food sources, second year they could have, not uncommon at all for them to have twins too, and sometimes 3 fawns.
Yeah.
And
I've seen that rare, but
yeah,
I've seen it.
But it's common for them to see 2 hanging around with them, and that normally tells you that's a second-year doe, a second-year-old doe. But the other thing is, fawns at the time that they're born, they can get up and walk.
Yeah.
And normally, in about 2 days, they're actually out foraging around and actually browsing with mom. You know, obviously lower, but browsing nevertheless. So pretty quick turnaround on that. And what's amazing about this is that they're weaned on their own in 6 weeks. So from the time that their doe is bred, it is a quick turnaround from the time she has it to the time that that fawn hits the ground to the time that it's weaned to where it's on its not on its own, still with the mom.
Right. But can,
right.
Sustain
and
itself.
it's not odd at all for a doe or yearling to stay with a doe. Stay with its mom for 2 years.
Yeah.
A buck, she's going to run his butt off at the end of the first year. And
Yeah, he's on his own.
she'll rear up and put him right on down the highway. So there are some variations of this, but you know, Steve, the lifespan of a deer.
Yeah, lifespan of a deer can be from 6 to 14 years in captivity. 14 years.
That's a long time.
That's long. Yeah, these deer down here, they don't see 14 years.
No, but you know, like in a high fence or like our deer that we collect from.
Yeah. In most cases, deer don't make it to the age due to disease, hunting, or car collisions. Average lifespan 4 to 5 years, 4.5 years.
In the wild.
In the wild, 4.5 years. Bucks have an average lifespan of about 2.9 years.
And that's
in the wild. So.
Now you think about that. Now, if you take 2.3, say 3 years old. I mean, folks, we're kind of giving you some statistics, but let's put it in perspective.
Yeah,
about 3 years for a buck, and when you kill a 4 or 5 year old buck, a good buck, that's saying he's beyond the norm of it, and that's nationwide averages, folks. We're giving you.
Right.
If you were to go to Pennsylvania, he's less than 18 months old.
Wow. Yeah, and does have an average lifespan of about 6.5 years. So
nearly
more than double. Yeah.
More than double than a buck. Now, of course, we'll get some emails on this unless them Cajuns get on.
Yeah.
Them boys love them does, don't they? Hey, listen, you can't eat the antlers, you know.
That's right.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. So there are differences. And when you start looking at them, you think, well, man, that's crazy. A doe lives nearly twice as long in the wild as a buck. Average buck's 3 years old. So anytime you kill a good buck, you know he's got to be more than that. Well, you can get a good buck at 3 years old.
Yeah.
But you start realizing if that's the norms, then you can start really gearing your property, judging your property against those norms. Because your property could be and should be an exception to those norms, especially if you're managing, which we'll get on, how to manage these properties and stuff. You know, deer, obviously, they're browsers, and during the fall, they're more toward grain. I mean, more toward, you know, the corn, the acorns and stuff. And then, obviously, in springtime, they're more budding. And which is kind of, if you look at a timeline in the north, deer are bred first. They shed antlers first. They've already shedded, and we're just now breeding in North Florida and South Alabama in February. But yet our bucks already here are already in full swing in a recovery because we have browse. Cutting grass last week. They've been cutting it here in Florida for how long? Weeks.
Yeah, several weeks.
So the browse, so they have access to the nutrition to be able to get back out there quicker. So it's a process of recovery, and it varies from place to place and from region to region. But it's crazy how if you look at it, how one region will lag and then it'll jump ahead of someone else. But that's the way it is. And so that's what this show does, is it shows hunters, and I believe we got a caller on, it shows hunters that it does do that. It's not just this, but sometimes it's that. All right, let's see who we got.
Yep, there he is.
There he is. All right, you got Don Bell and Steve Burklow. Who we got?
This is Noah. How you doing, sir?
Doing good.
Hey, Noah.
Big Noah, where you from?
Florida, Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida. Noah, how do you pronounce your last name?
Just cut it in half. Schmedeck.
All right.
All right. Well,
That'd have been exactly the way I would have said it the first time I would have said it. You're not from Florida, are you?
Oh yeah, Florida native, born and raised.
Are you serious? All right, Big Noah. What kind of question you got tonight?
Well, I'm curious why the rut is different in Florida. Like I hunt in North Florida, where generally I see a rut pattern October, September during muzzleloader bow season. Then when I hunt down around Hillsborough, Hernando County, they tend to be patterned in the rut November, December time frame. But then over in the Green Swamp area, come late January, early February the following year, they're in rut. So, I mean, is there a reason why the state has so many different areas in rut?
Well,
at different times?
Yeah, let me break that answer up in a couple of ways. When you just said Green Swamp area, which part of what region of the state are you talking about? You're talking about?
I'd say the middle of the state. If you go over from Hillsborough County towards, say, like you're going over towards Orlando.
Okay, I got you. All right, central eastern part then.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes. Well, first of all, we want to always clarify, thus the name of the show, Hunting the Rut Hotline, is that anytime we talk about the rut, we always need to break it down into 3 periods. Pre-rut, peak of the rut, post-rut. Now, your question, and the only reason I just said that is we always want to clarify to our listeners and to clarify to our callers that what you're asking is, and I'm assuming what you're asking is the peak of the rut. Is that what you're saying, when a buck's chasing a doe?
Yep.
Okay. Now, having said that, and I figured that's what you were saying, but we always want to clarify because it is distinctly 3 different periods. Now, even though you're in Tampa, and if you take, Noah, the peak of the rut is like a sliding board at Disney World. You start on it in the high part in the north, and you start sliding down to the south. The further north you go, it is very pronounced. The peak of the rut, it is very, very pronounced. Historically, it is the end of the second week in November, historically, almost anywhere in the Midwest.
Yeah.
That means from the 7th to the 14th, you need to be, either one of the first 2 weeks in November, you need to be where you're going to be in the Midwest to kill a big buck, because the peak of the rut, or the peak of the rut means, Noah, that's when the majority of the does are standing to be bred. Does that make sense? The word estrus means an animal will stand versus her running. Have you ever seen a buck chase a doe?
Yeah, that's what I assumed is
right.
When they're running does.
Right. Well, if let's say you and I, Steve, we're sitting here and we're talking like this, and we look out the window and a buck comes chasing a doe, and you say, "Hey Don, look at that doe. That doe's in what?" Most people are going to say she's an estrus because she's running, but in reality, she's not. The word estrus means an animal will stand and not run. The reason she's running out there across the front of the yard is because she's coming into estrus and she don't want to be fooled with, thus she's running and the buck's following her. He knows she's coming in. That's the reason he's running her. The reason she's running from him is because she's not in and she don't want to be fooled with. Now, the peak of the rut is when the majority of the does are standing to be bred. And what's crazy about that, in the what counties did we hunt in Pennsylvania?
Hancock, I believe, in Illinois.
Illinois, Hancock, and there was another one, Johnson.
Yeah.
2 counties right there together where we hunted this past November up in Illinois. But historically, even on those 2 counties, there's a variation. Does are running over there, and over here they're not. Mm-hmm. So there is a time in which where you hunt, Noah, that the majority of the does are in. That may not be the case the county over. It may not be 5-10 miles down the road from you. But there is a time in which, on the piece of property you hunt, that the majority of those are standing versus running. What we mostly talk about as hunters is the does we see running. Now, having said that, in the north, it's very pronounced. It happens, and it's over with. Specifically to your point, the further south you come, it's more like a ebb and flow. And that's the reason why you see what you see in Florida. We have it to some extent in Alabama. North Florida, South Georgia has the same problem at times. You'll see it happening and it'll vary off. It'll happen and it's just kind of ebbs and flows. And that's the reason why that happens. If you were to get up into north central Georgia, north of Columbus, what's that? Callaway Gardens area there. Those in that central west part of the state, there's actually bucks those will come in October, late October, just like it is in the Midwest.
Right.
There's a reason for that too. Some of those bucks and does, the deer that's there was brought into that area back during the 50s. And so the South, some of the deer come out of Michigan, come out of Wisconsin.
So you have genetics.
You got genetics in a pocket in there. And so you have some of those variations, but the further south you come, Noah, it's more like a ebb and flow. And you're blessed to live in Florida.
I don't know. That could be tricky then, because
Sure.
I bounce all over the state and even go up into Georgia trying to chase rut around, and sometimes I get lucky and catch it, and other times it's
tough.
Hit or miss.
It's tough to pinpoint in Alabama and Florida.
That's right.
I tell you what, if you ever get a chance to go to Kansas or Illinois or Iowa or anywhere, I encourage you to do that, because you'll see a rut that's very pronounced and very predictable.
You'll see, Midwesterners talk about it but a lot of Southerners, though they know it and see occasionally a deer being ran, if you go to the Midwest or Northeast, in that week, you'll see multiple bucks chasing does, and it's just the craziest thing you ever seen in your life.
It's absolutely insane sometimes.
Yeah, just you think, my Lord. And it's like goats running around. But that's because it's very pronounced in a very short window. It happens and it's over with. A lot of that in the Midwest, though, also has just the historicalness of the weather, the cold. They have to get it done in a very short period of time. In the South, we're a little more laid back.
Yeah.
The weather's
cold.
we don't have the kill, we don't have the pressure, and it ebbs and flows.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really based on. It's not so much environmental factors or.
Yeah, it has. Some of that plays into it. Certainly the weather does. I mean, the hotter, the less they're going to run. The colder, the more pronounced it is. That's the reason why you see more deer moving around when it's cold. So yes, the weather plays a part of it, but it's a little bit of everything. But you take all those factors into the southeast, but certainly in the deep south, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, not so much Texas, but Mississippi, Louisiana, you're going to see this same kind of phenomenon, except you're on the very tail end of it down there where you are.
Yeah.
I mean,
where I'm at in Georgia, up by Bainbridge, you can count on the rut being pretty heavy about the second to last or third to last week in November to the first or second week of December.
Yeah.
Every year.
It's got to be those Midwest genetics.
Yeah.
But then when I get back into Florida, it's I got a lease up in around Jacksonville. Like I said, that's October, September time frame. And then
you're saying
south, and it's crazy in Florida.
No, you're saying in Jacksonville that you got does in estrus in September, October?
In the September, October, where my lease is at, during muzzleloader, 2 years back, I killed a buck running. I had two bucks running a doe back and forth, and I got the second one as it came back by. And, and then early October, when bow season starts, I still see the same type of activity. I got, not so much the bigger bucks, but I got younger bucks running those back and forth.
Now I was fixing to ask you what size buck you're seeing doing that. it's not uncommon. In fact, we talked about it in the opening segment. I don't know if you saw it. A doe has, a doe will stay with its mom for, a couple years. The first year, a buck, she's going to run his butt off. And so a buck's out there, and especially the lesser bucks will agitate and run. And were they showing the posture of as though they were running as though she was an estrus, or they were just running her? Kind of run, stop, or did they have her lined out?
That one year when I shot the trail buck, they were chasing her. I mean, tails up, pushing her.
Huh.
That's why I got that in my head after that happened, that area was, good for October, and last week of September, opening weeks of October.
Probably an exception.
Was the rut for that area. And
yeah.
I talked to some of the old timers in that area, and they pretty much agreed. Now, then I come 3-hour drive south back to Hillsborough, Hernando County. It's a completely different time frame.
Yeah, that's I can tell you that's pretty much
that must be like a pocket of genetics there.
It's got to be. You're kind of like back in that pocket up around Callaway Gardens and stuff in Georgia, where the genetics was out of Michigan and Michigan and Wisconsin and stuff. But even with that, one of the things, and we're fixing to get out of this segment, Noah, but one of the things that this show does, it shows the importance of nuances where you live. And so what you realize that the rut is in 3 periods, pre, peak, and post, but there are nuances, and you really got to know your area because there are variances, and there's reason for those variances. And as the top predator, we need to understand those nuances in order to get not just a deer, but a given deer.
Yeah.
And so, thus the purpose, Noah, of this show, Hunting the Rut Hotline, is to discuss the year in the life of a whitetail, and with those nuances. And that's why callers like you is so important to ask these questions and to show those nuances. So we appreciate you calling in tonight. And look, is this your first time you've watched the show?
Yes, sir.
It is or it's not?
It is.
Oh, well, listen, we're glad to have you. Man, we appreciate you calling in, and do watch us each week. It's every Thursday night, 7 p.m., 52 weeks a year. We're going to talk about...
I appreciate y'all letting me call in.
Hey, man, we appreciate you calling in. Tell your friends about the show and tell them to catch us next week.
Will do, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you so much.
All right, bye.
Thank you, sir. All right, folks, we're going to be right back, take a quick commercial break, and we come back, and we'll do this all over again.
You've worked hard all summer to get everything just right. Don't leave the rest of it to chance. Use the finest deer urine ever collected, and the only one in the market that is oxygen-free. From collection to bottle. Get ready. It's time to hunt.
Repel and kill the bugs that bug you most with the all-natural 100% deep-free BioShield.
You've waited your whole life for this moment. Don't spoil your opportunity because of poor preparation. Keep your optics clean and fog-free for a clear shot every time. Fog Zero.
All right, we back. We learned something. We found out that in northeastern Florida, that old Noah seen a couple of bucks running does in late September, pushing them, he said, even hard. Those are nuances, but hey, there you are, folks, there you are. I believe we got a new caller on the line. Yes, we do. All righty, you got Don Bell and Steve Burklow. Who we got?
Travis.
Big Travis. Where you from, Travis?
I'm from Michigan.
There you are, Michigan. What part of Michigan you from?
On the western side, over by the lake.
You over by God, what is it up there? Travis, what is it? Travis, God, I can't even think of the name of the last thing.
Oh, Traverse City?
Traverse City, yeah. You up around Traverse?
A few miles from there.
Okay, pretty part of the world up there. Well, listen, we're glad to have you call in tonight. We were just talking about Michigan a few minutes ago, back during the 50s and 60s. Some of the Michigan deer and the Wisconsin string deer were brought down into central western part of Georgia, down around Callaway Gardens and stuff. Some kind of got over into Alabama a little bit. But so we were talking about you just a few minutes ago. Years ought to be burning. What kind of question you got?
Yeah, I was wondering, how far should I hunt from a bedding area?
How far? Are you bow hunting or gun?
I'd be bow hunting.
What do you think?
Bow hunting from a bedding area? Well, I like to get, I love to get close as I can to it without getting too much scent near, you know what I'm saying? I like to get right up on it, especially in the transition between a bedding area and, of course, where they're going to go to feed, where they like to feed. I like to try to get into that zone right in between it.
I don't think it hurts to get close. I mean, look, if you notice Steve Travis prefaced that with killing his odor and stuff, and you know most hunters understand to do that. That's real important. And we know somebody that introduced a new product to do that, called Scent Defense. But Travis, what you got is, if you're killing that human odor, you might as well get on up in there as close to where you think you can get the shot. Now, one of the things, or obviously you're trying to shoot bucks, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, well, the reason I say that, sometimes people just want to kill a deer, because as the general rule in a bedding area is that once a doe is different than a buck. Once a doe, research shows, Steve, that once a doe stands up from bedding, so she bedded down, she stands up, she's going to stay in that area there for about 30, 40 minutes, 45 minutes there, and she will browse right in where she's at. But within that first 30 minutes of standing, research shows that she will do a rub urination, and she'll rub urinate when she gets up. Primarily a buck does that in the fall, but a doe does it within the first 30, 45 minutes for the time she gets up from the bedding area. And it's sort of, now we're sitting here in North Florida, you up there in Michigan, and obviously we have a southern lady sitting here, and I assure you, if she goes out to Walmart, she gonna dial up to go to Walmart. So it's like putting an identity on.
Yeah.
Deer do that, and so when she comes in contact with another deer, she will rub urinate, especially a doe, she'll rub urinate again, and this is 365 days a year to show status. A buck primarily does it in the fall. Having said that, back to Steve's point, I try to get as close as I can, like Steve is saying, but without getting right up on top of it. Get on the edge as close as you feel comfortable to allow her that freedom to get up and move around. Because if you spook her, guess who else you're going to spook?
Oh, yeah.
Now, having said that, bucks are in bachelor groups today in Michigan. They're in bachelor groups today in Florida and Alabama, as they are all over the country. Bucks spend more time with bucks than they do with does. And so you want to get as close as you can in that transition. I'm not scared to do that if you kill your human odor. And do you use any kind of scent? Do you grunt?
I'll use doe urine or, and some scent blocker usually. Didn't use much for grunt calls this year, but
all that's going to do is put if early bow season, you can use like a doe bleat, or a fawn bleat, and all you're doing with a fawn is telling any doe, if you hit a fawn bleat, any doe's going to come to it. And it's just like a child in the mall. You let a child cry out, every woman in that mall ears are going to perk up and try to go to that child. So it's an instinctive thing to do. But to the short point of it is, I'm not scared at all to get as close as possible to it.
Right.
Are you hunting the same property year after year?
Oh yeah.
So-
Matter of fact, I have my wife and my daughter out there. It'll be their first year out there hunting this year. So
Right.
So you
that's kind of the
know,
area I was wanting to put them in.
so you know your property, and you know where the bedding areas are. As a general rule, this is where they are.
I like to be about 20 to 25 yards from the edge of where you think the bedding area starts. That way, because a lot of times they love to put scrapes down that line,
Yep.
like on the
outer
where the
edge of
transition is. That way, I got setting up for a good 15 to 20 yard shot in between there and the bedding area. It works out really good a lot of times. So, especially covering with a bow.
Well, notice what Steve just said was the transition. Even if you got timber, if you're in a standing timber or hardwoods up there where you are, there's still a transition break in those woods if you look at it of lower timber in it, smaller timber in the bigger timber to where there's a break in it. But man, you get a clear cut, a feel, all that, and there's a movement out there that you can actually, people cut the tree down, and what they'll do is they'll cut half the tree down, and let's see here, Travis, it really depends. Some people say 4 inches, and some of them go all the way up to 10 inches. But if you just take a couple inch, 2 inch tree, just some kind of up there where you are, hemlock, something that the deer will browse on, you cut it half in two and let it fall over. It's called hinge cutting, and you let it break over. And what it does this time of year is you break that over, you're literally creating cover. So just like to Steve's point, if you got a field and you got woods coming to it, and you can see off of that field in the woods way, so you go, whatever you feel comfortable inside the woods, and you go along through there, and you just start hinge cutting. You cut half of the tree in two, it falls over, and it stays alive. Mm-hmm. But yet it keeps cover close to the ground, and they'll tend to feel safe and browse and they'll bed closer to the field. Mm-hmm. And so all you're doing is building an apartment closer to the mall.
and it may be more pronounced down here, talking about the bedding area, because it's so, like down here, a lot of time you'll have a big stand of planted pines that are a certain age that really hold, and if you got a break of hardwoods right up to it, that's my favorite place to be.
And down here, what Steve is saying is up there where you are, you don't have those clean breaks like we do down here, because you could go from a hardwood bottom to a pine and it
crawl through.
It's just a wall, like a sheetrock wall difference between the pine thicket and the hardwood
open
bottom.
hardwoods where you can get a shot.
But yeah, have you ever done any kind of hinge cutting like there along through your woods there?
Not really. When we go out and cut firewood out there, we'll pile the brush up in certain areas and kind of give it more of a a safe feel for the deer.
That's right. Well, think about it. I don't know if you're in and around logging much, but the best old Ben Lee, everybody remember Ben. We were doing a seminar one time. Somebody asked Ben what was the best deer call. He said a Husqvarna chainsaw, and it's true. You crank a chainsaw up in the woods where they're logging, and you leave. If you were to set a camera up on that logging site and you leave, you watch a deer come to it. And the reason for it is you're cutting that fresh browse down, and they're eating that fresh browse that you topped out. Mm-hmm. And so they've learned to associate that sound to browse. And so it's just an association. But yeah, that's our opinion. And Steve's the big bow hunter. And get as close as you can, but kill that human odor. And do use scent. Are you familiar with Top Secret?
A little bit, yeah.
Top Secret's, single, no oxygen. And it's a real game changer. And of course, we just introduced Scent Defense.
Yeah.
You see, and it'll be available to you, Travis, in June up there. You'll be able to get it, at Gander Mountain. You'll be able to get it at Cabela's. You'll be able to get it at Dick's.
Jay's up there.
Jay's is up there. Jay's will have it. You're west of Jay's though, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so. I've never heard of that one.
Jay's Sporting Goods in Michigan. They're up in doggone. Jay's, they got 2 stores. You been up in Michigan long?
Oh, I've been in Michigan my whole life.
Yeah, they're on the eastern part of this.
I've grown up.
They're in the
in
eastern.
a small town up here, so.
Yeah, no, they're the eastern side of the state. They're two huge stores there, and they're destination stores. Travis, people go north going to the UP, and they go up through there. Golly, my mind just went blank on the town that they're in. Clare. They're in Clare, Michigan.
Oh, yeah, I know like that.
Yeah, big store. Super great people that owns those two stores, and man, they do a lot of business. Got everything. If you need hunting, they got it. Jay Sporting Goods.
Real nice.
Real nice. But I hope we hadn't screwed you up too much. But the short answer is, get as close as you can without compromising where that deer activity will allow them to get up and browse a little bit to get on that wall, that break that Steve's talking about. In other words, I don't want to shoot you in the bedroom. I want to shoot you in the hall going to the bathroom.
Right.
That's where I want to shoot you, is in the hall.
Yeah.
So, does that make sense?
Oh, I understand what you're saying here, yeah.
Hey, look, is this first time you watched the show?
Yes, it is.
Hey, man, that's great. Well, listen, we're glad to have you on board tonight. And we do this every Thursday night, 52 weeks a year. And what we're doing is the year in the life of a whitetail. And with callers calling in, you see the nuances of where you are. The guy just called in was from Tampa, Florida. Now you're calling in from
way up in Michigan.
Way up in Michigan. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah,
and and man, we're glad to have you call in, and boy, we do appreciate it. And call again and call back and watch the show each week and tell all your friends about it.
Not a problem.
Hey, man, thank you,
Thanks,
sir.
Travis.
Thank you, Travis. Thank you, sir. Okay, bye-bye.
It's got that commercial sign up there.
Yeah, I know it. Go to a commercial. All right, folks, we'll be right back. Take a commercial and come right back.
From Don Bell, the founder of Code Blue, comes Top Secret Reserve Doe Esters, the finest doe estrus ever collected. Top Secret oxygen-free collection process is a complete generation above Code Blue. Our patent-pending collection process means no ammonia and no ammonia smell. At a limited quantity of 12,000 bottles, only 0.1% of hunters will be lucky enough to add Top Secret to their arsenal. Visit TopSecretDeerScent.com today and join the 1/10% Club.
Okay, folks, we're back. Folks, listen, we just want to remind everybody, you see the little sticker up here in the top, Steve? It says Top Secrets 1/10% Club, folks.
What is that, Don?
Hey, man, I'm glad you asked, Steve, because I'm going to tell them. What it is we're obviously Hunting the Rut Hotline is sponsored by Top Secrets 1/10% Club, and we do appreciate that sponsorship. And, folks, it is open enrollment for reserve. And folks, now listen, as you heard in the commercial, this isn't complicated. We have 12,000 bottles for 12 million deer hunters. Do your math, that's 1/10%. That means right now tonight, it's open enrollment. You can go below us right there, and you can hit that buy now button. It'll take you to the website, and you can join tonight two ways, Steve. And they can do that by?
They can do it by clicking it and hitting it pay over four months,
payments,
$25 a month, 4 months.
Right.
And also all at one time.
Or they can choose to pay. So you join tonight, Steve could say, I want to pay for mine tonight. And by the way, guys, that's a $100 bottle.
Yeah.
And if you notice, we didn't hesitate on that. That's 26 ounces of the finest urine the industry's ever seen. This is single urine, no oxygen, 3-4-year-old doe literally pulled this buck off of that doe. So this is in-process urine. So you can get your bottle now for this coming fall by going to the website. You can hit it, pay for it one time, and say, Steve, Don, ship it to me in November because I'm going to Illinois. Or you can hit that button for pay. It'll pay for it over 4 payments, over 4 months. You still pick your month and the date you want us to ship it, and we'll ship that bad boy to you this fall. Once they become a club member, and by the way, you can be a club member by buying estrus or buck. There's only 12,000 buck, but there's only about 1,100 of the buck, of the 12,000 of the estrus, about 1,100 of the buck. This will be the first to go. So if you want buck urine, this is the first one to go. Once you become a club member, and I get this bottle, Steve, nobody can take it away from me because I'm a club member. It's like buying season tickets at the University of Michigan.
Yeah.
Old Travis that just called in.
Yeah.
And once Travis gets it, nobody can take it away from him so long as he renews his bottle every year.
Yeah.
And but if he ever bypasses that, then he's going to get to watch Michigan State play Ohio State on TV rather than the 50-yard line. So, folks, hey, seriously, get your bottle. It's open enrollment, first come, first serve. You can join tonight with all the perks, and one of those perks is you get to be new product development plus be guests on the show with us.
Yeah.
We're going to start a new segment called the Conference Line, and we'll actually have club members that'll get to participate in that process. So, folks, hey, join the club tonight, hit that button, and secure your bottle for 2015. I believe we got another caller on the phone. Big T? Well, we do, don't we? He was looking at me. I couldn't see what he was doing in there. All right, you got Don Bell and Steve Burklow. Who we got?
Hey, this is Justin.
Big Justin, how you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
All right.
Justin, remind me again where you're from.
Central Illinois.
Central Illinois. Justin, hadn't you called in? You've called in before.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
First time.
Another Justin. Well, looky here now. Central Illinois. What county you in?
Yeah, we might need your address.
Yeah. You know, we're brothers and stuff.
We want to keep that disclosed. You know, all the good secrets we got. I'll tell you what.
Well, I got news for you, dog. It ain't much of a secret.
Middle of Morgan County is where we're at.
I hear you.
Morgan, how close is that to Hancock or Pike?
Dude, it's about an hour.
You're north of it?
Yep, north of it.
All right.
Yeah.
Mighty fine. Well, listen, you're in a good part of the world. Of course, you didn't need to call in for me to tell you that, did you?
No, sir.
Well, look,
That's good.
we're glad to have you as a caller. And what kind of question you got for us tonight?
Well, I got a little story. They told me to go ahead and tell my story. I'll try to keep it short. I'm about as long-winded as a hurricane. So,
All right. No problem, man.
well, about 2 or 3 years ago, we were checking trail cameras. We got a small parcel of ground. It's home family ground. We got other parcels, but this one's real special to us. It's been in the family for about 4 generations, and we had this buck start showing up real late night. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. He's about 2.5 years old, and he was already at about 150 class deer. Just beautiful tall tines. Just a straight 10-pointer, nothing real special about him, just real stout buck. And every year, I get my hopes up and I never see him, but every end of the year, last couple of years, we caught him on trail camera after the season's over, which, makes me sleep a little easier at night knowing that he's still out and about.
Yeah, another year.
Had a good enough hiding spot. We got another year at him. Well, he will just not come out at night, and just about as much as everybody else that calls in here, we're all avid hunters, and I'm sure we all got tricks up our sleeves, but, always looking for tips and pointers to get ahead of him and, get one up on him, maybe see him during the day. He's got to be, 5, pushing 6 now, and, I bet you he gets a drop this year and gets pushing 200 inches, so we're pretty excited to hopefully catch him on the farm again in Velvet. So.
Yeah, that's, I don't know did you catch your first part of the show? One of the things, the average life expectancy of a buck in the wild nationwide is about 3 years. That's a doe's a little better than double.
Yeah.
And notice what you just said about that buck. He's probably a 4.5, 5-year-old deer. And that's, where you are because of the pressure and stuff, or the lack of pressure, you can do that. That old boy can live on out there. He doesn't have all those.
Not like down here.
Yeah, he don't have all those concerns because you're kind of taking him under your wing and providing for him. And they, like us, they get big and fat. So, but having said that, your question is, he's at night. You're seeing him on cameras at night.
Nocturnal.
Right. And if he's nocturnal, there's a reason he's done that. He's older, he's more mature, pressure, he's old enough and pressure tells him to move at night. You don't get old by being dumb. And so having said that, You know, you can't spotlight him. Well, you can, but that's illegal. So what you do is you see where he is, but you can't get him during the daytime. Are you seeing that activity just in camera, or are you seeing it at scrapes, and especially scrapes? In other words,
especially scrapes and rubs. I mean, he's real active in our part of the woods. Like I said, that's our home farm, and it's a smaller parcel. And you know, we provide food plots and stuff for him, and try to keep the camera, you know, traffic down. We only check them about once every 3 or 4 weeks, and really try to unpressure them deer, because obviously there's people that live there, you know, and my family lives there, and it's hard to, you know, but it's always producing. But we cannot. I haven't seen him during the day. I think Dad seen him, you know, maybe a couple weeks in November there. He's seen him once or twice, 2 or 3 miles away from the farm. And I mean, but you can't catch him on camera, and he's obviously a smart buck. And just looking for some tips and pointers, you know, maybe a special way to, maybe should I move my stands around, or, you know, just something that I haven't tried.
Well, let me tell you this: are you bow hunting or gun, or both?
Bow hunt.
Okay, bow hunting.
But
okay.
With both, right?
Well, a couple things. One is you don't have to be too, and I know this is going to kind of sound dumb, but you don't have to treat that buck, and I want to make sure people hear what I'm saying here. You don't have to treat him with kid gloves. You know, if you're on a farm, now if it's just a big piece of property, pressure is a thing. But if you're on a farm, and a relatively small farm, he's hearing voices, he's hearing clicking and clacking, he's hearing the barn doors shut and close. You know, he hears that normal activity every day, and he ranges that, and that's part of his world. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is sometimes it's the opposite of the norm that gets him. So sometimes you can play that to your advantage. Now, having said that, that's not putting him nocturnal. Odor and pressure in and out during the season is putting him nocturnal. Best way to kill a buck that's nocturnal is to use buck urine. And are you familiar with Top Secret?
Yeah, I mean, so. I mean, Code Blue. I use a lot of Code Blue, so I mean, I know the history and everything. So
okay, well, when I introduced Code Blue is one deer, one bob. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Now then, the difference between Top Secret and Code Blue is that Top Secret, it has no oxygen. Phenomenal difference between it. Let me prove my point to you specifically in your question, why Top Secret fixes so many things. All right, you got a buck, he's tearing the scrape up at Steve at night. So what you do tomorrow morning, let's say you're going to hunt Saturday, so Friday, Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday, you're getting up and you're going to work at 8, so it doesn't matter what time of day you do this, Justin, but be consistent every day. In other words, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, same time every day. So let's say you go to work at 8, so 6:30. How far do you live from the farm?
Oh, I actually live quite a ways, so I take vacation when I go
all right.
hunting down there.
Yep, okay. Well, so you're going to hunt him at the end. You want to get on that deer Saturday. Wednesday, kill your human odor. Pick whatever time of day you want to do it. It does not matter. Now, if it was me and I know he's moving at around midnight, then I want to get as close to midnight as possible. So it wouldn't hesitate me to go in there late afternoon, right at dark. I'm going to kill my human odor, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to put buck urine in his scrape, and I'm going to leave. That buck's going to come in, so the first time that urine hit oxygen is when you poured it out. So when that buck comes in to check that scrape, what he's going to find out is he's got an Old Spice in his bedroom. And what that big buck's going to do, he's going to tear that scrape up, and he's going to remark in it and tell Steve to get his butt out of there. So tomorrow, that's Wednesday. Thursday, same time. I mean, try to be as close to the same time as possible. Let's say you did it at 5 o'clock. Or 4 o'clock. So at 4 o'clock Thursday, you're right back in his face again. You kill your human odor. You go in. You don't hang around. You fill that scrape full of buck urine and you leave. That Steve's going to come in that night and say, I told that sucker to get out of here. Old Steve's going to tear that sucker. It's going to get bigger and deeper. And he's going to re-urinate in it until you get your butt out of here. Friday, the same time. Saturday afternoon, trail your buck urine in, get in, either grunt or take the tines, and you'll get a chance to kill that boy. And here's why. If you put it in at Wednesday, you put it out at daylight. Thursday, you put it out at noon. Friday, you put it out at 4:30. Saturday, you put it out at daylight. He don't know when you're there. All right, because the urine starts ammoniating down. But by pouring it out at the same time every day, it's going to start breaking down consistently because the first time it sees oxygen. So the closer Steve gets to it, the fresher it's going to be. So his nose that protects him will now be his Achilles heel because the closer he gets to it, the fresher it is. So it's like, are you married?
Yeah.
Where are you at now? You're up in Michigan, so you're at Michigan. Oh, well, Illinois. So you're.
Illinois. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the school, the college up there. But anyway, you're at a football game. You come home at night after the football game, and you walk in your house about midnight, and you start walking down your hall to your master bedroom, and you smell Old Spice cologne. When you flip that light on, does it matter to you? When you flip that light on, what do you do? Where's your mindset? Because see, the difference is once you flip that light on, you're not looking for her. Who are you looking for?
I'm looking for my sidearm first. That's what I'm looking for.
Hello, that's what I try to explain to people. If you got to think about it, dog, don't come to Alabama. Because you're right. Because what happens is you're looking for that buck. So what happens, now watch this. So let's say you come home from work at 9 o'clock, Steve. Travis comes home at 9 o'clock and you smell Old Spice cologne. I mean, it's so strong just like you went out the window. So man, you have your two say about it, and look here, that ain't gonna ever happen again. You just mad as all get out. Thursday night you come home at 11 o'clock, time to come in from work, 11:30, and you smell Old Spice and it's kind of faint.
Yeah.
You think, man, was that left over from last night or was that tonight? Well, next night you come home, it's kind of strong again. Well, you don't ever know when he's there. You see what I'm saying? But if you come home every night for 3 nights in a row and you smell Old Spice cologne so strong just like he went out the window, what you bet you punch out early and come home one night? That will make you punch out from work and come home early to catch Old Spice in your master bedroom. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Buck urine.
Good trick to try. Something that I ain't thought of, so that's good.
Buck urine will do that. You need to hunt with buck urine every day of the year and grunt with it, and where you are, rattling wouldn't hurt you, but definitely grunt with it. But you use buck urine every day of the year, and it's going to get great. It's going to get more aggressive toward the peak of the rut with it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, rattling around there is it's awesome. I've killed all my nice deer by rattling. And I'll tell you what, they show up quick out of nowhere. So. Man,
get you some of the Top Secret's buck. Man. And oxygen free, it's crazy. It's you'll see a phenomenal difference in it. And the difference is it's a simple process. I say a simple process. It's a simple concept. It has no oxygen. So the first time you pour it out is when it starts breaking down. So it tells the animal. Dark urine says the deer was there. Clear yellow urine says the deer is there. Top Secret is clear yellow urine. Well, look, we appreciate you calling in, and doggone, we're glad to have you tonight, and call us back.
Yeah, tell us when we need to be there, Justin.
Yeah, hey, afterwards, just tell Tom when you want us to come. Give us your address and stuff, and we'll ease on up there. We won't tell nobody where you are.
I tell you what, if you guys are good turkey callers, you can come on down.
Well, now look ahead, dog. Hey, I got news for you now. We can call one of them birds up there for you to put on the table too.
I tell you what, you call one for me, I'll try to call one for you. We'll just call it even. How's that?
Hey, dog, we'll do that too. They both eat real good. Well, look, we appreciate you calling in. Tell your friends about the show, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, we'll do.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye. All righty.
All right.
Whew, all right, I think.
That 200-incher.
Ooh, and you like to live on that see, that's some farms up there, you know.
Oh, man.
All righty, I think we got us another call. All right. All righty, you got Don Bell and Steve Burklow. Who we got?
Bob Curtis.
All right, Mr. Bob Curtis. What you doing, Robert?
I'm doing fine. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. Everything been doing all right in your world?
Oh, it's great out here. You gotta love it. Indiana.
Hey, what part of Indiana?
We're in northern Indiana, Mishawaka, Notre Dame area.
Well, let me tell you this. I'm not going to get off on politics. Yes, I am. Listen, you keep that dang bill up there on faith just the way you got it worded. You guys in Indiana, keep that bill just like it is. It's time for people of faith to stand up and say. We can say that because this is our show. So, all right, Big, what you got? Big Rob, what kind of question you got?
I was kind of curious on what are the signs to know when rut season is coming in, and how long does rut season normally last?
In Indiana, what part of Indiana did you say you're from?
The northern Indiana, right on the Michigan line.
Okay. Well, that's an easy answer. Keep in mind when you say the rut, we're talking 3 periods, pre, peak, and post. Therefore, when season opens in Indiana, the majority of the bucks in the state of Indiana, as they are in the Midwest, are in rut. Once a buck sheds velvet, Robert, Bob, he's in rut. Now, I didn't say a doe was in. I said he's in rut. He can biologically breed once he sheds velvet. So where you hunt, you bow hunt or gun hunt?
Both. My number one choice would be bow.
There you are, Steve's heart. So you got, when season comes in, is the majority of the bucks in or out of velvet? Where you hunt?
When we hunt, they're out of velvet. Is that what you're asking me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So that means
October 1st is opening day.
Yeah, so that means the majority of them are out of velvet, which means biologically they're in rut. Now, that means biologically he could breed, but there's no doe and estrus. So that's called pre-rut. Then the peak of the rut is when the majority of the does are standing and not running. Most people call the rut, you hear the callers calling in, they refer to the rut as when a buck's chasing a doe.
Right.
That's actually the peak of the rut, which means the word estrus means the doe will stand and not run. Mm-hmm. You heard the caller before, if you were sitting here and a doe goes running out across the road over and you say, hey Don, look at that doe's in what? Most people are going to say she's an estrus, but in reality she's not.
No.
If she was, she'd stand. The word estrus literally means an animal will stand. The peak of the rut, Robert, means when the majority of the does are standing where you hunt. Historically, that's the first, second week in November. Yeah. And if you just had to put a gun to our head, we'd take it the 7th through the 10th, 7th through the 15th.
That's right. That's right.
So,
and it's very pronounced there.
Very, very pronounced where you are. In the Midwest right there, especially, Illinois, Indiana, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Kansas, all that, man, very pronounced. You got about a 10-day window. It happens and it's over with. It's quick. Then you have a post-rut. So you have pre, peak, post. The post is sort of like a winding down. The rut is like a mountain. It starts at the bottom, pre-rut. It climaxes at the top of the mountain, peak of the rut, and then it starts sliding back down the other side of the mountain in post-rut. Okay? So, but yeah, that's not hard. And once you understand what we just said, it'll make a big difference in how you hunt them, because most people, do you use deer scent?
Yes, I do. And that was one of my questions I was going to ask you.
Yeah. The number one scent sold in America is estrus. You know why?
Yes.
Because most people think the rut is when a buck's chasing a doe. 2/3 of all deer scent in America is sold in a 4-week window. And the reason for that is they buy it during when they think the peak of the rut is. In reality, they're missing 2/3 of the hunting season. Did I spit on you? Sorry about that.
So when would you use the estrus scent?
You want to use estrus where you hunt, late October, Halloween, right on for a while. I mean, you get all of November, even into December, you could use it.
From the rut start all the way after that, because they're going to start cycling after.
Steve's exactly right. Once where you are, Halloween, all the way to where you can't hunt no more, you can do it. And the reason for it is the peak is when the majority are standing, so you got some that didn't get bred, some that hadn't came in that's recycling. So that's the post rut.
So if you use your estrus scent too soon, could that ruin it for you?
When you say too soon, what's too soon?
Well, like our opening day is in October, October 1st. Would I use the estrus scent then? And you're saying they'll use it in October toward the end.
You know what you want to get? Well, you want to use the scent. You want to use 2 scents, and you want. And the first one is buck urine. You want to use buck urine every day of the hunting season. Literally, Robert, every day.
October 1st or whenever. If it opens
open a day of bow season all the way to the end of the season, you can't hunt no more. Bucks are in bachelor groups in pre-rut. So when you use buck urine, any buck will come to it. The closer you get to the peak, the more aggressive that buck. You put buck urine out, Steve's the buck you're hunting. You put buck urine out, Steve smells it in October, first day of season. Steve's not mad. He's going to come to it. Any size buck's going to come to it because they're in bachelor groups. He's just wanting to see who the new buck is to put him in a pecking order. He ain't mad. He's just wanting to see who he is. Put the same buck urine out to the same buck Steve during the peak of the rut in his master bedroom. That's like coming home smelling Old Spice knowing he don't wear it. Now he's mad. And it's the same buck urine. The difference is not what you use, but when and where you use it.
Right.
Is the difference. So
would you use that estrus, the same estrus you're using in a like over a scrape and a
yes,
stripper?
Absolutely. And look, are you familiar with Top Secret?
I've been reading a lot about your product, so I'm very interested.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Somebody asked us who we're telling everybody, aren't we?
It's a game changer.
Yes, sir. You can't turn on the Outdoor Sportsman or Pursuit channels without seeing Top Secret or Scent Defense or BioShield or Fog Zero on it. We're telling everybody, but the difference is Top Secret is oxygen free, which means dark. Look, if you were to go to any store in the country, right there in Indiana, you go into your store and where you buy scent and you open it, what color is it?
Ugly brown.
It's an ugly brown. You know why it's brown? It's ammoniated. So ours is yellow. It's a clear oxygen-free yellow. And the reason for it is, has it seen oxygen? If you were to take, can you see the show live? Are you watching us?
Yes, I'm watching.
Okay, watch this. Can you see that bottle that I just put up there? You see how yellow that bottle is? Now look at the one beside it, how brown it is. This one we took the top off of. This one we kept it on. Ours is oxygen-free. Once you open it, it hits oxygen, it starts breaking down. Give an example of this real quick, and then we know what time it is here. Are you a first-time caller? You're not a first-time caller, are you, Robert?
Yes, I am.
Man, that's great. Well, we appreciate that, man. Everybody tonight was first-time callers. You're going to think we're crazy. Tomorrow morning, I want you to get you a clear jar, and I want you to urinate in it, and I want you to sit it down outside of your yard. Or better yet, take it to work with you, man. Sit it. It sounds stupid, and I'm serious. You're not going to do it, but I'm trying to illustrate a point. You urinate in it, it should, let us know how it goes. If you urinate in that jar and sit it down, it should be a clear yellow. Seriously, if it's not, you may want to have it checked. But urine voided is sterile. So you got a clear yellow urine. It's your urine. Now watch it as in the course of the day. It's going to start changing color, Steve, and smell. The only variation to that urine is oxygen. Oxygen ammoniates urine. The urine that you buy in the stores, that's why Top Secret, what Steve just said, it's a game changer, and it is. Now, I've been doing this for almost 30 years in several brands. Did Tinks, started Code Blue. This is a game changer because ours, the first time it sees oxygen is when you open it. And so dark urine, when you open it, says a deer was there. Clear yellow urine, oxygen-free urine, says a deer's there when you're there. So if you put it out dark urine out, when you get up in the tree, it already says, yeah, there was a deer there, he's not there now. You put ours out, ours says there's a deer now, standing there now while you're in the tree.
Because it's a fresh ear, it makes a lot of sense.
Right. Now then, we also have a way through a scent saver system to where you can pour the urine into the scent saver system, plug it, pump it out in between using it, and it keeps it without oxygen. We also have a deer bladder. Here it is, Steve, right here.
Yeah, foam too.
Yeah, we have the foam too. See, hang on. Can you see this deer bladder?
Yeah.
All right, now you asked about how to put it in the dispenser. Now check this out. This is new for $15. You can get it at your local sporting goods store. You'll be able to get it at Cabela's, Dick's, Gander, all the major retailers. But this right here has 5 ounces in this bag. It's like an IV. It's 5 ounces. It's never seen oxygen. It comes in buck and estrus, and it drips. You can make it drip as slow or as fast as you want to, Robert. So now let's get up in a tree and you hang it. You drip it. Each time it drips is the first time it sees oxygen. So every time it drips, the whole time you're sitting in the stand, it drips. You got a deer standing there the whole time you're up there. If you were to take somebody else's urine and pour it out, it already says the deer was there. He's not there now. Plus, the whole time you're in the stand, it's getting more ammoniated. This dripper says the deer's standing there right now. And the key to it is it's oxygen free. It retails for $29.95. It comes with 5 ounces of buck or estrus. Plus, it has a way that you can see the syringe that you can refill this and use it over and over and over. Pretty neat.
How long does it stay good? So in that bladder right there, that deer bladder there,
it ain't gonna go back.
I'm done hunting in the morning.
All you do, you're good.
How do I save it?
It's good. It ain't gonna get. It's not going. The only time it's gonna see oxygen is when it drips. So when you turn it off, you're good to go. In other words, it's not gonna go bad sitting there because there's no oxygen in this. That's what's neat about it.
Put it in the refrigerator or anything?
You don't have to. You're in Indiana, so it's going to be cold. I mean, down here we'll hunt in 80, 90 degree weather. So in our sense, it would help to bring it in, not being out in the sun. But you don't have to refrigerate none of our stuff because it's oxygen free. Oxygen ammoniates urine. That's what turns it brown. But you don't want to put it in the dash of the truck.
Right.
So
and consider the foam. The foam is my favorite. The foam it stays oxygen free. 300 uses in an 8-ounce bottle. Retails for $19.99.
$19.95.
You can't beat it.
The foam is that a sample?
The foam
that's a sample. I was going to show you right here. 300 pumps in it, and you can just foam it like that. I don't know can you see that, guys, in there? It looks like it's wide out. Can you see it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, you can see it. So you can just walk along through the woods, foam it 15, 20, 30 yards, foam it 15, 20, 30 yards, foam it, and you don't have to drag it in. Each time you foam it is the first time it hits oxygen. We're getting close. Well, we're past the show time, but let me end with this. Do you ever use a scent drag?
As a matter of fact, I do.
All righty. I want you to, where you're sitting, if you had a scent drag and you put it on and you trailed across the road to where you are and you climbed up in a tree, which way is the scent the strongest? Where you started or where you ended?
I think where I ended is the last spot.
Well, actually, in reality, it's where you started. And the reason for it is because you just poured it out. And so it's on your drag. And the further you get, that's the reason a lot of hunters will stop and rehydrate it and go a little place and rehydrate it because it gets weaker the further you go. Well,
that makes sense, yeah.
But now having said that, that means that if you're across the street and you're up in a tree and I'm a buck, I come walking down your road and I hit your scent trail, I'm going to turn and come to your truck and drink your coffee while you're freezing your butt off across the road up in the tree. Right? Because I turned and went the way the scent was the strongest, the freshest. Now watch this. With the foam, oxygen free, we changed that. Because with this, Each time you pump it is the first time it sees oxygen. Got 300 pumps in it, Robert.
So then my
1995.
theory would be right with your product, because where I stock close to my stand, it's still like brand new.
Right.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
you start here, you start in your chair where you are and you foam it. You start walking across the street 15, 20 yards, you just foam it again. Foam it again, foam it again. So each time you foam it, the first one, the second one is fresher than the first one, the third one's fresher than the second one. So now I'm that buck walking down the street, I hit it, I'm gonna turn and go to your tree stand instead of go to the truck and drink your coffee. And only Top Secret does that because it's oxygen free. It is a game changer. It's neat as all get out. And you can get it. And hey, look, you can check out our club too. We have the 1/10 of 1% club. You can go to the website and check it all out. And you can find Top Secret at your favorite sporting goods store nationwide. And see, again, you're out of Curtis, where are you out of?
Indiana.
Indiana,
that's right.
All your major chains have it. So, and of course, you can go to topsecretdeerscent.com. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you'll see all the other brands, and you can just hit on those logos. It'll show you our new scent defense line, our BioShield repellent line, all natural, and also the Fog Zero to keep your scope and optics from fogging up.
Yeah.
So pretty neat stuff. Well, look, we appreciate you calling in, and you feel free to call in anytime and ask us. And look, tell your friends about the show.
Oh, absolutely. I already have. And me and my daughter and my son, we're avid hunters. We appreciate your stuff that you do in there, and hope you guys become millionaires.
Hey, man, we appreciate it. And look, how'd you find out about the show?
Internet, Facebook.
Okay, great. Well, look, we appreciate it, and tell all your friends about it, and we'll grow the audience week after week just by word of mouth to you guys. And this show's all about you. And what you're asking us tonight, everybody else is watching and listening, so it's a pretty neat conversation. Look, we appreciate you calling in, Robert, and we'll talk to you next week. Tell your friends about it.
Hey, absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. You guys be safe.
I think I'm gonna chase us out of here now.
I know it. All right, guys. Hey, folks, listen, we'll see you next Thursday night. We're well past time, a quarter after, 15 minutes past. So we'll see you next Thursday night at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. See you next week.